Okay, so I briefly mentioned an Indian cinema film. You also fell in love with RRR, Triple R to some.
Yeah.
How did you go down that route? Who recommended it, or did you just wander into it one day?
AJ did. AJ was like,
AJ.
you have to see Triple R. And I was like, I don't know. It's just 3 hours. I got hearing loss, so I have captions on all the time. But I was like, I don't know if I can read captions for 3 hours. So they said, hey, no, you should really watch it. It's technically what our movies should be like. So, especially when you have buddy films. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, I'll see. The opening scene really got me. I didn't know what was
Mhm.
happening there, but when he's running away from the lion to catch the tiger, he's like, wow, this is awesome. So, I mean, as you keep watching it and you're trying to figure out where the paths align, and you finally do, you're like, oh, this is actually a great movie. Especially the leg dance off, what I call it.
Yeah, not to, man. That's the song. That's the song. They got them
Yeah,
their only Oscar nod is the
that
song.
is.
And
Oh, that was awesome. My wife had to tell me to sit down because I tried doing it and almost kicked her. So,
they even show. I show my granddaughter, and I said he's going to show you how to do it, and it goes by in such a manner that you can't follow it, and you just look like a fool trying to
you,
figure it out, and you're going to
you
hurt
do.
yourself or break something, and just went to
Yeah.
blast. And I wanted it to be nominated, even if it doesn't win. Just, I want to see them do this magical, Bollywood scale performance at the Oscar. I want to
I was gonna
see them do it.
I was gonna ask, do you think that they would actually bring them on, even if they didn't get nominated for anything else, to actually do the dance?
I don't know if the two actors will do the dance. There will be a dance representation of that, definitely for
Okay.
sure. If the
Okay.
actors do it, it will prove what I said this last week
Hmm.
was them not putting RRR in the best picture was the dumbest mistake they made, because it would have made a
Yeah.
billion people watch the
Oh
show.
yeah.
And
Easy.
if they had held
Easy.
not to until like late in the show, it
Okay.
also would have kept people watching, especially if they had leaked. And again, even if
Yeah.
everybody knows they did it, if you leak
Leaked it.
that NTR and Ram Charan are going to do it, you have a
Hmm.
billion people. I don't care if it's the haters in Bollywood; they're all going to want to see it for themselves,
Yes.
and your
Exactly. And
ratings will actually rebound. And
go
Americans will
exactly.
discover, oh crap, there's a whole bunch of films that are made by these people that are really,
Mhm.
really good. And there's this old white guy that's balding that's been telling you about them, and this guy in Canada
Mhm.
that's been telling you about them, and Chris
Yes.
Gore in California that's been yes, and Paulie in Los Angeles. Yes, we are all telling you these movies are great.
Watch it. Watch it. Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, I guess that was. I mean, I guess in the time, I don't know. I know my father would certainly say it, but he would tell me about the triple threat. You had to
mhm.
be that. Maybe before, I don't know, maybe the 90s or maybe even the 2000s. You had to be able to sing, dance, and act, so that if any one of those came up at any point, you could immediately jump into it, and you were polished. You'd had practice, and you could actually do that. And so, I know that maybe over the last 15 or 20 years, unless you went through the Disney training or the Nickelodeon training, you could do one of those three, but not the other two, or you could
Mm,
tell where they lacked or they fell short in the other two areas, which is why, when you get a Lady Gaga that can actually act on top of singing, you're like, wow, this is really great. So, when you watch Triple R, you're like, wow, these guys can act, and it's not forced and it's not dull. They can sing, and they can keep the beat with it, and they can actually dance. And so you're like,
mhm,
hey, this is what real talent looks like. The West, you need to step your game up because they're doing that over there, and we
mhm.
didn't even put their movie in Best Picture. This is
Yep.
just we just put their song up, and look what
Yep.
they can do. So I mean, I actually would have liked for more movies to go kind of the musical route without kind of being a musical, if you get what I'm saying. They'd have a song in there where you do a dance. I know that in the 90s they tried doing it with the Freddie Prince Jr. remake. Oh god, she's all that. There would be
Mm,
music playing, and then there'd be a group of people, and they just do a dance, and that would be it. You're like, oh, okay. I wish they could put that in more movies to at least highlight a secondary or tertiary skill that the actor would have. So I think Triple R kind of reset the standard for what you should demand from your actors and actresses.
so I'm assuming by that description you haven't watched Bahubali 1 and 2 then.
I haven't. Like I know that
Okay,
Copa
those are
mentioned
his.
it to me, and I was
Again, these
like,
are
I got to
massive.
see it.
Trust me, I am not judging any of you. It's you in chat. I'm not judging you because these are 3 hour commitments with subtitles. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Yes.
But if you want to
Yes.
understand the director's progression, you go back to
Mhm.
his first 2 films before that,
Okay.
and you can see this progression of his skills, and you also see his strategy is to incorporate the singing and the dancing in a way that blends so well into the show, into the film. Whereas other Indian films, especially Bollywood films, they will
Mhm.
stop the show and have these musical sequences. They will put the lead actor will, I know people love Pushpa, and I'm sorry, especially like if Culture Casino is here because he loves Pushpa. I'm like, I can't handle that the main character is with his boys in the audience, and next thing you know, it's a musical sequence and he's on stage. I'm like,
Yeah,
what is
that's too
happening in this
much. That's
film? Like
too much.
I couldn't go there.
That's too much. Yeah.
SS Rajamouli finds ways to incorporate them into like a wedding scene and a party scene and this kind. He makes it make
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you end up down a rabbit's hole and you see things that are like, holy cow, Hollywood
Mhm.
has been lagging for a
Lacking.
very long
Yes.
time. Because other than
Yes.
like, because the only actor to me that comes to the level of like that next level is probably Hugh Jackman
Okay.
with Zac Efron, I guess, because I did see like in Greatest Showman and some other stuff. Like it's there.
Okay.
It may not be given opportunities to come out, like you said. There's not enough roles where they try to
Right.
put things in
Do
there.
that.
And I will say that culture has just evolved where I don't know that people respect it or enjoy it the same way, which is really a shame. It really, really is.
So I mean, that's kind of the thing that I was trying to figure out too. Was when In the Heights came out, I just heard everyone that it really wasn't marketed, and then everyone said it was woke trash. Some people were saying, people were saying, well, hey, there aren't any Afro Latinos in it or whatnot. And then the last thing I heard about was The Rock trying to promote it. So I actually gave it a chance. It was actually really good. Like Lin Manuel Miranda, I actually like his versions of musicals. Hamilton notwithstanding, that'd be too much for me. I can't do rap with my history facts because it would be too confusing. But
I couldn't do it
In the
either.
Heights, yeah,
I couldn't handle changing Hamilton that
I
much.
I
I
can't. No,
can't
that'd
give
be
it a
too
chance. I just
much.
can't do it.
No,
Yeah.
but I will give him if his version of a musical would work. And so for the actors that are actually in that, they can act, they can dance, and they can sing. And so
True.
it's like, well, hey, that's the characters that were in that movie. I can say, hey, that would work because I know that one of the lead actresses in that movie, she was the one that was cast as Batgirl. And so that's how I knew
Oh,
her when I
okay.
heard the
That's how
name.
we know
She
who
was
she is.
actually
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the Heights, but In the Heights is actually good for making a musical for that vein. And so I know that me and AJ were talking about it, and they're trying to figure out what exactly the Russo brothers are going to do with Hercules because they're doing the live action version, but they're trying to make it for the TikTok generation. I said it doesn't work because the Russo brothers with what is his name? What's his name? The British director, Guy Ritchie. Like, it's not
Mm,
gonna work with the two of them together. I said, well, if you told me the Russo brothers and Lin Manuel Miranda were trying to do it for the TikTok generation, it would make sense because he's actually got the pulse of the youth to actually be interested in history via Hamilton,
mm.
regardless of
True.
how I feel about it. So,
Yeah.
the people that he brings on can sing, dance, and act. And I said, hey, that's what we should be demanding more of in our stars.
Fair enough. Princess Leia Rose is here. Hey there, lady. So good to see you. Ironcast is jumping on that J.K. Simmons reference, pointing out that yes, he is the voice of the yellow
Oh,
M&M. Which, by the way, I called out Loki for doing the worst impression of the yellow M&M today. It was very subpar. He needs to do a way better job. Joker's throwing out some love because of the RRR. Yes, I
yeah.
kind of reversed the whole thing. Like, I'm telling you, it's good. I'm just, if I'm wrong, y'all people will call me out. And Chris Burgess is talking about the M&M shenanigans that have definitely exploded. It's just awful. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Dean Crancett's here. Hey, brother. Oh, you're doing well, man. He's awesome, dude. Totally great. And oh man, Joker. Yeah, you're talking about OG. Sammy
Yeah.
D, man. Sammy D was the boss, man. It is the
Yes.
boss. I'm going to
Yeah.
definitely spin my wheels into some 1950s stuff at some point. Get into some of that rap past. That's good. So, Canola, yeah. Part 1, part 2. You got to take them together. Make sure you always communicate to people that they just
Okay.
watch one. My feeling on part 1, I was confused at times, and I thought it was kind of slow. The ending is amazing, and then part 2 is like the story. The meat is put on the bones, and you really get this whole epic put together. And you go, this guy that made this movie really knows what he's doing. And then when you see RRR, you're like, okay, he's leveling up. I can see
Okay.
the leveling up in his skill set. I see the leveling up in the CG departments. I see the leveling up in casting. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Ironcaster, I know. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? I know. I know. Zach is judging. It's okay. We love you, bro. Yeah, Jackman he's an OG stage performer. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. There are a lot of them are stage performers that you just don't.
Oh, yeah.
They don't. But I think what Ego you're saying is right. They're not given opportunities on Hollywood scale anymore. We don't do musicals like that. We do these. I call them like cliche musicals, like La La Land. I just can't enjoy. I just like it's so cheesy, cheeky. It's just like ugh. I just don't enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't do the live theater remakes of things like Beauty and the Beast or even A Christmas Story. As much as I love A Christmas Story, when they said they were doing the live version of that and even like the other musicals, it's too much. If that's gonna happen, I'll rather go to the theater and watch it live instead of seeing it live on TV. It's too much, you know.
Zex is confirming the Bahubali thing. So for those of you that need the clarification on what that means is the main actor is playing basically a dad and a son, and that's the best way to say it. I just put in the back of your mind that you're going to have these characters, and you're going to be like, I don't understand what's happening. Go, okay, wait a minute. One of them's related to the other one, and it gets explained and stuff. But there is a moment. I blame some of the language barrier. I blame it just kind of doesn't quite click. And I will admit, it made me feel better when Zach and I had this very similar response to other of their movies, where sometimes you get confused.
Yeah, you do.
Like they have another great part 1, part 2. If you haven't watched it, it's called KGF, and it's a part 1, part 2. Like you need to watch both pieces, but they have like these gang lords basically with these crews, and you get confused because everyone starts betraying everyone. It's not about. You start to, no one's wearing like Krypton blood outfits. I can't keep track of who's with which group. It was too complicated. I was constantly rewinding to try to figure out wait, I thought he was with this group, but because the betrayal gets so complicated, part 1, my response to part 1 was like, it's good, but it wasn't great. But once you put part 2, again, you put the meat on the bones, you come in, you complete your epic, but then they put a little stinger in there. They're going to have a third part. They were messing with me because I didn't even know there was a stinger. So I did a whole review, and somebody went, we didn't talk about the credit scene. I'm like, there's a credit scene? I didn't even know. I'm like, Indian people didn't do credit scenes.
That's true.
I didn't know.